Hi, I'm Sarah, and I have a question for you. How has the WordGirl fandom outlived the show? The very presence of the fandom 7 years after the cancellation of the show, as of recording this video, is very noteworthy but isn't anything new. The end of many series don't mean the total death of a fandom, but usually, in many instances, the collective fandom will fizzle out until only a small fraction remain to make and consume fanworks. In this case, the fandom seems to have surpassed the height of its popularity when the show was still on the air, which is interesting because on the surface, nothing has changed. The only thing that seemingly changed is how members of the fandom are consuming episodes. I won't delve too far into the history of the fandom in this video, but the fandom has remained fairly small and relatively unvaried in the types of fanworks created until the beginning of around 2021. Around this time, the fandom experienced a small boom, likely due to a viral clip from the series finale of the show circulating on Twitter, as well as one of the developers of the show sharing never-before-seen information and production notes with the fans on Twitter. This extra attention on the show contributed to many fans joining and rejoining the fandom, leading to a solid year of fanworks to be created. In February of 2022, the fandom experienced another significant boom, much larger than before. This was likely due to many prominent artists on YouTube and TikTok creating silly animations with popular sounds, leading an entirely new audience to discover and rediscover the charm of the show that inspired those very funny videos. With new The Amazing Colossal Adventures of WordGirl that premiered on November 10th, 2006. These shorts establish WordGirl's relationships with her family and friends as Becky, and her relationships with the main villains of the show. These shorts also introduce one of the most interesting friendships turned tragic backstories. In the shorts, Ree entered the butcher, and What's Up, Doc? The audience is introduced to a surprisingly now beloved character named Professor Stephen Boxleitner, who serves as WordGirl's mentor and friend.
Come on, CHF, to Professor Boxleitner's lab!
Where will the butcher strike next? Who is Professor Boxleitner? Will these two pompous people hold a grudge against Captain Huggy Face?
I'm calling my lawyer.
Well, I guess we have the answer to that question.
Our hero goes to him for advice to stop the butcher and is met with a simple and unnecessarily complicated demonstration on how to make a grilled cheese sandwich, before finally being asked why she stopped by. During this scene, Stephen becomes aware of the very obviously missing fourth wall of the show, which becomes a plot device later on.
Stephen Boxleitner.
Then we raise the temperature, liquefying the inner concoction and solidifying the outer shell until critical mass. Grilled cheese. Are you sure you don't want one?
No thanks, Doc. Hey, little fella. Whoa.
Oh, that's Squeaky. Be careful. He's vicious.
Vicious means violent and mean.
I know.
I know you know, but they may not.
Who are...
The audience.
Oh, hi.
Why do you have a vicious lab mouth?
He was on sale.
Oh.
So, why have you come to see me?
WordGirl explains that this new villain fights in a way that she's not used to, and is unsure of how to stop him.
This guy, the butcher, he's gotten away from me twice, and I don't know how to stop him.
He's a bad guy?
Yeah, he's pretty vicious. He attacks with meat.
Meat? Like a nice pork chop smothered in peppers and onions?
Stay with me, Doc.
Sorry.
Professor Boxleitner references the handbook he wrote, Superheroes and You, A Practical Guide, where he looks for any mention of meat attacks to help WordGirl. There is no mention of what they're looking for, but there is a recipe by an unknown character named Amazo Guy. This detail isn't important, but I'll reference it again later towards the end of the video.
Let me check my handbook. Nope, nothing about meat attacks specifically. Although I do have a recipe for barbecued ribs. Oh, that'd be good.
The entire scene with Professor Boxleitner serves to illustrate how intelligent and food-driven he already is. This short also introduces a little mouse named Squeaky who is said to be very vicious after it tried to bite WordGirl's finger. In a following short called The Crazy World of Dr. Two Brains, we witness the accidental transformation of Professor Stephen Boxleitner into the iconic and dastardly Dr. Two Brains.
A strange experiment is taking place.
Yes, Squeaky. When this experiment is complete, I'll be able to peer into the depths of the rodent intellect. I'll be able to read your mind. This experiment is the most important experiment.
Dr. Boxleitner seems a little distracted.
Smells like my pastrami sandwich is done. I'll be right back. Hey, buddy, can you make sure he doesn't press the holy cow, don't press this button?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, hey, thanks a lot.
Dr. Boxleitner, I think you're misunderstanding what I do here.
Oh boy, this is gonna sting.
In hindsight, the transformation could have been avoided if the concept of the narrator and lack of fourth wall was accurately explained, as he was under the impression that the narrator could actively participate in the story and babysit Squeaky while Professor Boxleitner checked up on his sandwich. Though the narrator can influence the story, but he chose not to in this instance.
Aha, WordGirl! It looks like we have you out.
Well, that was easy.
WordGirl, you can't defeat Dr. Two Brains yet. We're only halfway through the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. He's out.
Oh no! Look out!
Are you kidding me? Why'd that lighting fixture fall out of the ceiling at the very moment Dr. Two Brains needed to escape?
This short is oddly recalled later in a later episode as being more intentional than it actually was, possibly suggesting that this third personality of Dr. Two Brains, under Squeaky's influence, recalls the events as something he planned to do as Stephen Boxleitner, which is not the case.
I've just got one thing I need to take care of first.
What is it, boss?
Well, I've been thinking. I'm tired of going to prison. You still with me? I think I'm going to let the mouse brain completely take over for a little while.
Huh?
Well, Squeaky, that's my mouse brain, is easily the more devious of the two brains. Trust me on this.
Okay.
Squeaky was an evil mouse, and I fused his brain onto my brain in order to become, Dr. Two Brains.
It's implied in these shorts and throughout the rest of the series that their friendship started long before his untimely transformation into the villainous Dr. Two Brains.
Wow. Boss, you finally got us a new hideout. With the trampoline? You shouldn't have.
Don't worry, I didn't. Don't you realize where we are? Look, everything's all red and yellow with stars everywhere.
Not jail.
This is WordGirl's spaceship hideout. I remember her telling me about it back when we were friends. Some friend she turned out to be. She never invited me here for a secret hideout dinner, despite her frequent and often uninvited visits to my lab. What's this? Superheroes and You, a Practical Guide. What kind of goofball would write... Oh, this is the book I wrote before I became an evil genius supervillain.
I know. Most of what I learned about how to be a hero I got from that book.
The movie's better.
You were a great scientist before you turned to a life of crime.
Because of this lab accident, WordGirl is left without a mentor for the remainder of the series. Interestingly, the inclusion of the narrator as a character in the main cast allows WordGirl to tackle problems that are a little more complex than typical children's shows. Using this feature of the show helps young viewers understand concepts and ideas in a way that doesn't seem patronizing, just educational and introspective regarding the meaning of the choices characters make, and inner commentary on conflict.
I know we have an obligation to help them, but we can take one little pony ride.
I think Bob was making a good point.
But it's ponies.
Trust me, the last thing I want to do is spoil your pony party. But if there's one thing I know about WordGirl, it's that she won't let anything keep her from helping the people of this city. Anything. Even pretty magical pony princesses.
You're right, I guess she won't. Come on, Bob.
The other shorts introduce the villains, the Butcher, Chuck the Evil Sandwich Making Guy, Granny May, and her classmate Toby McAllister III. The Butcher has meat powers and can easily overwhelm WordGirl and her sidekick Captain Huggyface with an avalanche of meat products from his meaty dimension, mentioned and explored in a later episode. He also butchers words, which is an ongoing quality to his character.
Not so fast.
WordGirl, so we meet again for the first time.
Right, and you are?
Can't you make a guessification?
A what?
I think he means a guess.
Oh, Mr. Meat and his hot dog brigade?
Catchy, but no, I am the Butcher.
Oh, I get it, because you butcher the English language.
What? No, because of all the meat. What do you mean I butchered the English
Oh,
language?
sorry.
I am really offender.
You mean offended.
Don't tell me what I mean. Do I mean offended?
Yeah.
He's generally a pretty sweet and understanding guy, often taking the time to talk to WordGirl about things he's struggling with, and listening to her talk about her problems as well. The Evil Sandwich Making Guy is a sandwich enthusiast to the point where he purposefully goes out of his way to inconvenience or even torment others if they don't agree with his sandwich or sandwich-related views. His crimes usually consist of robberies that directly assist him in making unusual sandwiches, trying to get rid of WordGirl, or anything that he's convinced himself will prove how evil and powerful he is to his mom, who blatantly favors his more successful older brother.
Fake game show? Using our ideas? Say, wait a minute.
Oh, I get it. So when I spray...
Don't you understand, Chuck? Seymour's been playing mind games with us.
Duh, it's called a game show. Boy, you're not... Wait, is that... No. I won't let you ruin this for me. My mother's watching. Hi, Ma. Look at me. I'm tied for first place.
He can be very sincere, and WordGirl often tries talking him out of making bad choices and tries to help him resolve whatever problem he's having, but oftentimes he gets frustrated and behaves childishly to get what he wants.
But the law requires that everyone who works in the school food preparation industry wear a hairnet. So here. Ow, 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 ow! Chuck, get a hold of yourself. There's no need to be so disorderly. It's too uncomfortable. Then I won't wear it. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry you're sorry to hear that. Well, I'm sorry that you... Look, either wear a hairnet or you can't work here. Oh, really? In that case, I quit. Ha! Lunch fellow, out! You guys blew it. Best lunch person ever. I'm done here. A little later, Chuck lets the Crusher tell everyone what he thinks about the hairnet rule.
This doesn't usually solve his problems, but occasionally we'll see moments where he and his brother have a genuinely nice moment together. Villain that WordGirl must battle several times over the course of the series, and it's mentioned a few times that she's not new to being a criminal at all, and that she's very experienced. Her gimmick is tricking others into thinking she's just a helpless old lady before robbing them with keeps tabs on all villains, so it's never surprising to her to find Granny Mae in the middle of a con when she's out in public. The problem is that the citizens of Fair City don't always catch on to Granny Mae's crimes until after she's been caught by WordGirl, who usually spends the episode trying to expose her schemes. The third is a young boy who wreaks havoc throughout the city with his giant destructive robots simply because it's something entertaining to do despite the extensive property damage and endangering of lives that result because of his actions. While sending his robots carefree into the city, he enjoys talking to WordGirl while she's actively trying to stop him.
I'm not sure why we're just wrecking buildings.
Well, with all due respect, if not for my ingenious energy bubble, we'd still be fighting WordGirl and that monkey. Therefore, I decide Mousezilla's activities.
If it weren't for the fortified metal which I created...
By accident!
Yeah, so? This collaboration would not have taken place if I had...
WordGirl! Oh, you just can't get enough of me, can you?
Not exactly. What?
Usually the entire cast and narrator are aware of his crush on WordGirl, and Toby is completely in denial about anyone else knowing about it.
Surely we can think of a much more diabolical way to teach her a lesson.
We both know you're just stalling because you have a silly schoolboy crush on her.
But I do not!
Do too.
Stay out of this!
In both of their civilian lives, they're rivals in that Toby doesn't think much of Becky and goes as far as to brag that he's so much smarter than her vocabulary-wise. This is another very fun and interesting dynamic in the show. Further into the official run of the full-length episodes, we see more of Becky's life as a 10-year-old superhero and 5th grade student with how she struggles with artistic assignments.
Your tree should be a reflection of the world through your eyes. Oh, Violet, that is beautiful.
Thank you, Miss Champlain.
Becky, that's, wordy.
Thanks.
Hinting at her limited understanding of anything that's not literal like a definition, as well as how balancing her personal life and duties as WordGirl takes a toll on her. And she's often forced to sacrifice her own happiness and relationships for the sake of saving the day.
Wow! This isn't just the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to anybody.
Enjoy it, Becky.
I will!
Somebody help. For a third time here.
I don't believe this.
Don't worry, you two. I'll get you out of here. Us food-based villains have to stick together, you know.
Seriously, can you please stop untying each other?
Boy, were you right. She really is antsy today.
Told you.
Can we please just hurry this up already? I don't have the time.
It's 2:15.
That's it! Everyone to jail!
Where's she going in such a hurry?
Huggy, for the rest of the day, I'm just going to enjoy my birthday, and I'm not going to let my obligations get in my way.
Out for a stroll in this lovely weather we're having. Or not.
Energy monster, you picked the wrong day to mess with me. The wrong day. Giant Ferris wheel, here I come!
Oh, Becky, hold up. Those rides aren't working anymore.
What?
Someone must have knocked out the power. I'm sorry, Becky. Obviously that someone didn't know that today was your birthday.
Thankfully, she has Captain Huggyface, known as Bob in his civilian form, to talk to and work through her struggles between balancing these very different and demanding lives, without anyone but them knowing the harsh reality of being a beloved superhero. Looking a little deeper, it's even more tragic when remembering she did have Professor Stephen Boxleitner to help her with the more difficult part of her two lives, but was taken away because of an accident. Within the show, we are introduced to many other characters, including members of her family, friends, other villains, and interesting one-off characters that make the world feel a little bigger and lived in. Usually while watching the show, it's not necessary to watch the episodes in order, but there are occasional moments where the writers keep the continuity of what's been changed or learned. For example, in the episode Dinner or Consequences, Dr. Two-Brains teams up with the energy monster to turn the entire city into cheese. While harnessing the power of the energy monster, Two-Brains discovers that the helmet works as a translator, and the audience learns that the energy monster is a girl and likes to be called Maria, likely a reference to her amazing voice actor, Maria Bamford.
Dangerous, yes, but also full of power. We pop this helmet on that energy monster, we plug it into the cheese ray, and boys, we are looking at the greatest cheese-making device in the history of the world.
Wait, is that me? It is! It's really, 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 really me! I can talk and everybody can understand me! Oh! Thank you, Dr. Two-Brains. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Looks like the helmet has an unexpected side effect. You're welcome, energy monster.
Actually, my name is Maria.
Oh, hello, Maria.
There was a girl once in a movie named Maria. She was the prettiest one in the whole movie. I fell asleep partway through.
I think Maria likes talking.
What's your favorite name? I like Maria.
During the remainder of the show, WordGirl addresses Maria with her correct pronouns, though still referring to her as the energy monster, as that is quite descriptive. Every character has a wonderful charm to them in a variety of different ways that allow all sorts of viewers to latch onto one or multiple and obsess over them very fondly. The excellent characterization and writing paired together makes for the perfect opportunity to find your blorbos. The writing of this show broadened what a children's show could really cover and how it covers it, going further than the sprinkled adult jokes that most children's shows include, to barely keep the adults watching entertained. WordGirl is an excellent example of writing that is both entertaining to kids who need simple concepts and entertaining to the older audience, like parents, older siblings, and other members of an older audience that may be watching with kids or on their own. The style of writing is educational in a way that allows the audience, especially younger, to be treated with respect and not talked down to. It's very important to practice picking up on context clues from a young age to encourage learning and challenging yourself, which WordGirl does very well by introducing words and then defining them after a few characters have used the words in a sentence in specific situations, paired with emotions and reactions. The show does this with other concepts like showing the choices characters make and the consequences, good, bad, and neutral, before delving into the real applications, just like definitions, so that young viewers can have a few moments to think critically and not just be told the answer. The humor of WordGirl can be described as family-friendly, but implementing jokes that don't rely on kids only being entertained by stereotypical, juvenile jokes found in a lot of modern kids' content. There's nothing wrong with extremely simple humor, but it's refreshing and exciting to see humor that treats the audience like people who are open to more complex jokes. It's always exciting to encourage kids to challenge themselves in what they read and activities they attempt, because that's the only way to develop into very capable adults who aren't afraid of difficult tasks or new ideas.
There's no more ketchup for the hot dogs. People will find out how bad they taste.
You know, far be it from me to second guess Pretty Princess, but she really shouldn't procrastinate like this. What? Oh, I'll tell you what procrastinate means later.
How much does it cost? Whoa! That's a lot of money.
Too much money?
I'm afraid so. You know, if you really want the Uber swing, you can always raise that money yourself. When I was your age, I had a lemonade stand.
Dad, you can't swing on a lemonade stand. Besides, I'm allergic to lemons.
Reginald could be in trouble. We have to find them.
Why are you looking at me?
We know you know where the butcher went.
Well, maybe. Look, even if I do know, I can't tell you. We have a formal way of doing things, and they don't involve me just telling you stuff.
Oh, sure. Well, formal means official, following the usual rules. Like how it's formal for me to define the words in every episode.
Yes, and it's formal for you to follow the script and not look to me to give you shortcuts.
Okay.
All right. Meanwhile, at the store you buy gold. Wait, we're supposed to switch scenes before I say, oh, man.
Sorry about that.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
Now, a 9-letter word beginning with the letter O that means clueless, unable to see what's right in front of you.
Oblivious.
Oblivious. Can you give me an example?
Thank you.
Did you see that?
Cheese thingies now have 1% real cheese.
On Monday, I take him back to the tarantula farm where he's free to roam around in his natural habitat.
I know I won't miss that creepy crawly thing. Ugh.
Why? What's not to like about him?
Well, he's a spider. So,
Oh, I forgot. You're afraid of cute little creatures that are 500 times smaller than you.
Not again. Hello, WordGirl, and everybody else. As I am your greatest enemy of all time, WordGirl, I thought you might like to know that I am going to be in the grocery store parking lot in, 22 minutes. Who knows? Maybe you'll defeat me and save the city. Or maybe we can just talk just for a minute. It's totally your call. See you soon, I hope. Okay, turn it off.
Where's the off switch, boss?
It's right.
let me go.
Not until you sit here and listen to my evil plan.
Fine, make it snappy.
Oh, it's snappy, all right. And it's gonna get snappier when I use my ray to turn the whole city into cheese.
What? That's your super special evil plan that you just can't wait to tell a whole world about?
Yeah. What's wrong with it?
You threatened to turn the city into cheese like a million times.
Yeah, but all those other times, I was going to turn the city into Gouda. This time, I'm going to turn it into, wait for it, smoked Gouda.
Smoked Gouda.
Yes.
Smoked Gouda?
Yes, smoked Gouda. You quit saying it.
That's supposed to be the brilliant part, smoked Gouda?
Yeah. Hey, going from Gouda to smoked Gouda isn't just about blowing smoke, you know. Well, actually, it is just about adding smoke, you know, but that doesn't mean it's easy.
Nah, he's new here. Kid Math, you have superpowers. How did you get captured so easily?
I'm still trying to calculate that. This math whiz fell for the oldest trick in the book. The old, hey, what's that? Can you believe it? I didn't even sell it. Just go, hey, what's that? And he was like, where?
If it isn't Dr. Two Brains, robbing the hardware store, eh?
He wasn't robbing me. Look, he's in the middle of handing me money.
Oh, well, anyway, I'm surprised to see you here and not trying to rob the cheese delivery van like you said you would.
I said I'd think about it. And then I thought, hey, if I'm going to do it, I'll need a new ray. But I was running low on bolts and duct tape, so zip, off to the store.
Please stop dawdling.
Dawdles?
Oh no, hide! I'm not sure you know what the word dawdle means.
No, but it sounds dangerous, doesn't it?
Dawdle. This may take a while, but I'll try to explain what the word dawdle means. Let's see. Dawdle. Dawdle. How should I explain this?
Oh, brother. Just look at yourself, word girl. Dawdling instead of defining the word dawdle. Too bad the word of the day wasn't ironic.
Okay. Dawdle is a word that means you're supposed to do one thing, but you waste time doing a bunch of other little things instead.
Oh, so dawdling isn't a crime. I thought you were going to commit a crime.
So did I. And soon. And if you do, you can bet I'll do whatever it takes to stop you, even if it takes all day. Because I have nothing to say that will be an inspiration to anyone.
Welcome to Inspiration Day. In a moment, I'll introduce our inspirational speaker, the never-ever-late Word Girl.
They're about to introduce me.
Thank goodness.
But there's still time for you to save me. So I hope you'll do the right thing and commit a crime.
The main cast of voice actors include Dana Furman as Word Girl and Becky Botsford, Tom Kenny as Stephen Boxleitner, Dr. Two Brains, TJ Botsford, Brent the handsome, successful, everyone loves him sandwich-making guy, and Bo Handsome, Maria Bamford as Sally Botsford, Violet, Leslie, and the Energy Monster, Cree Summer as Granny May, Patton Oswalt as Toby McAllister III, Fred Stoller as Chuck the evil sandwich-making guy, Jeffrey Tambor as Mr. Big, Chris Parnell as the narrator, unnamed Dr. Two Brains henchman and exposition guy, Jack Ferriolo as the butcher, Kristen Shaw as Victoria Best, Jane Lynch as Miss Power, Weird Al Yankovic as the Learnerer, and even Nick Kroll as Reuben Grinder, and a dozen others who are incredibly talented voice actors. It's very common in more recent shows and movies, etc., that bring on a celebrity actor is mainly to bring in more views, when in this case, it's genuinely because these actors are incredible as voice actors. Voice acting requires the actor to abandon any visual cues that screen actors can use to enhance their performances. This is an extremely difficult task for many actors, which is why many critics point out the flat acting in movies where the cast is made up only of popular and relevant celebrities, despite their lack of ability to switch mediums. WordGirl premiered in December of 2006, long before the age of social media and mass marketing, with buzzwords that many current shows and movies rely on to both promote their media and receive praise for such a surface-level quality of the characters they're using to tell their story. WordGirl never once tried to point out that it was impressive to have a POC girl as the superhero protagonist, because that kind of thing is normal in the WordGirl universe, and it serves to be a model of how viewers should react, or not react, to such a basic premise. I understand that by pointing this out now is kind of productive, but it's so refreshing to see a show where no one points out that it's odd for a superhero to be a girl, for example. The only times it's questioned is when characters reference her age, which the writers also show happened to TJ, Becky's younger brother, when he tried to be a hero in the episode The Home Run King. The best way to show equality to an audience that lives in a world where that's not always the case is to show the same situation at least twice, to let the audience know that it's not a matter of something trivial.
Thank you. Now, where was I?
Pile of goop?
Pile of goop, that's right. If you don't give me the keys to the Cheeseum, I will be forced to turn you into a pile of goop. Not if I have anything to say about it.
Home Run King! You saw the bat signal!
I did, and just in time, fortunately.
Now you're in trouble, Two Brains.
Oh, wait, who's this? The Word Girl on vacation?
Dr. Two Brains, meet the Home Run King, our city's newest superhero.
Greetings, soon-to-be-defeated evil villain. I am the Home Run King. Donuts fuel my extraordinary strength, which I then use to hit crime-fighting home runs. Yeah. So you're telling me your extraordinary superpower, which comes from eating donuts, is the ability to hit a baseball? Did I stutter? And that's supposed to somehow stop me, my henchman, and our villain award-winning Goop Ray? Yeah? Yeah, I'm not convinced. Let's see what you got, kid. Give me your best shot. Strike one. Strike two. Strike three. You're out.
I'm kind of having a slump.
Okay, take another one. Stand back. Uh-oh. Well, I guess it sort of stings. A little. But otherwise, get it, boys!
The animation style in this show is truly incredible because of how they portray varying physical features all similarly. So no character feels like they stick out because they don't have classic European features or same-face syndrome. Many other shows and movies have struggled with creating characters with common features that represent our very diverse planet, without making the characters with dark skin, big noses, or varying body types stick out for not being the usual. It's obvious when characters are created just to be diverse, but the background characters in WordGirl genuinely look like the population of a modern diverse city. And it's never pointed out or made to feel like the animators took a risk or worked extra hard to make that happen. By not mentioning it, they're subconsciously letting the viewers know that this kind of world is normal, and is beloved by WordGirl and the people she cares about. From the videos available from the crew while Soup to Nuts was in business, it's obvious the crew was composed of very talented artists and writers who got a laugh out of their own work and seemed to have a fun time. The character development in the show isn't necessarily stagnant, but many fans agree that there was a lot of unexplored potential with relationships and storylines. This yearning for exploring this potential in nearly all characters has greatly contributed to the ever-growing number of fanworks created. Many of these fanworks are inspired by background characters, unexplored relationships, unexplored villain team-ups, fan theories, and even dream episodes that were never made. An overwhelming love for what could have been is a big motivator for many fans to create works that are inspired by very small moments in the show and shorts. The existing characterization in the show includes the humanization of criminals, which leads the viewers to acknowledging their obvious flaws but not disregarding their personhood, and even being fans of certain villains because of their endearing and/or silly personalities. With this silly and lighthearted tone the show takes, it's very easy for fans to take these characters and insert them into equally silly and lighthearted situations, focusing more on their personality and relationships and less on the fact that they're criminals. There are many characters that were given less than 5 episodes of screen time, and they've become fan favorites, such as Big Left Hand Guy, Invisible, Glenn, No-Can, Amazo Guy, Steven Boxleitner, etc. The genuine love for characters that are given traits from canon and enhanced, paired with endearing self-indulgent characteristics given by those fans, create wonderful and rich interpretations of what otherwise were very minor characters who originally played minor roles in the show. This intense focus on background characters, some of which have evolved into full-fledged characters despite not 1 second of screen time, is noteworthy because it's become a big part of the fandom. One of the most popular explorations of potential in a character is the fan favorite Dr. Two Brains. This creates an interesting character and personality of Two Brains, a generally nice guy who has intense cheese cravings that lead him to commit crimes and disregard any morals he might have still retained from the fusion in order to steal cheese. He specifically steals cheese and pays for everything else, presumably because of the Steven side of the personality, and steals the cheese because of the Squeaky side of the personality. This allows the writers to play with the vulnerable side of the villain, who's still an exceptional teacher and mentor to WordGirl herself, and antagonizes her and all of the people in the city as well. The character development by fans explores the Steven side of Dr. Two Brains, regarding his backstory and humanity, as well as, contrastingly, exploring his lack of humanity on occasion, for angst. Though his fanon personality is very silly and flirty and overall very unhinged, which adds a lot of silly fanworks into the mix, especially joke art and memes. Another popular relationship is the student-mentor relationship between WordGirl and Dr. Two Brains throughout the show, starting from the very first shorts of the series. The added tragedy that is the origin of the character of Dr. Two Brains plays a big role in the angst that comes with the art, writing, and discussions. Becky, WordGirl's civilian identity, has shown to love and cherish her city and will do anything to protect it. But in some episodes, she's shown to have a bit of a god complex, where she truly believes that she's above those around her because of her superpowers, both mentally and physically. Because of this, fans have explored AUs where she's more easily manipulated by the villain, Miss Power, who appeared in the 4-part WordGirl movie. Her goal was to convince WordGirl that because she's much more powerful than the citizens of Earth, she has authority to do whatever she wants despite if it's the most moral and just thing to do, like locking people up for being rude, for example. The exploration of WordGirl's journey to understanding humility was never fully realized in the way that many fans would have loved to see. One very popular romantic relationship is Tobeki, the romantic relationship between Becky and Toby. The most the show ever alluded to was a potential friendship between the two, hinting at more like a frenemies type of relationship. A beloved trope in the fanworks is the famous enemies to lovers, which is very prevalent in this portrayal of this ship by fans. The potential of this relationship and the very strong and somewhat opposing chemistry between these characters is perfect for exploring what could have been if the show was allotted more seasons, or even a next-gen series. Multi-shipping is also popular due to the incredibly well fleshed out characters and how fun and interesting the character dynamics are. But I did want to talk about Tobeki because of how much of an impact it's had on the WordGirl resurgence recently. Sometimes in a fandom when there is no new official canon content, fans will take already existing characters and pair them together in obscure and silly pairings. This may be for a joke at first, but I assure you these rare pairs very often become very well loved by fans of the characters and the dynamics between the pair. This has created very fun ships like Plasma Rope, Cheesecake, Cosmic Cheese, and of course Amazing Cheese to name a few. Many previously static fandoms have been revived during the thing I can't say, but it's a big deal, with the rise of nostalgia and social media use. Many in the fandom have stated that recommended YouTube videos either rekindled their love for the show or have introduced them into the fandom. A similar phenomenon occurred on TikTok, with the increased viewing of edits, clips, animatics, and other silly videos using popular audio or audio from the show. In 2020, a few new works from people who weren't consistently making works for the fandom emerged. In 2021, the fandom had a small explosion, likely due to a viral Twitter clip from the series finale of WordGirl, which sparked a Q&A from one of the developers of the show, Jack Variolo, treating fans to never-before-seen behind-the-scenes notes, drawings, and other interesting info. In 2022, the explosion continued, right in time for the 15th anniversary of the show. Creators grew in popularity, and the demand for more WordGirl content became very apparent with the love and support for animatics, comics, fanfics, fan projects, merch, video essays, etc. The fandom has grown rapidly on Instagram, Tumblr, TikTok, YouTube, and even on popular WordGirl Discord servers, but has still remained a somewhat manageable size where fans can respectfully self-police and generally keep the fandom in check, from fallouts that most large fandoms experience. As someone who's very much active in the fandom, it's amazing to see how well everyone's treated and supported. One of my favorite instances are people who latch on to a very minor character and make a lot of art, headcanons, and writing for them, and receive a lot of kind words and support from other fans just because it's so fun to love a character like that, and it's very mutual for a lot of fans to reciprocate love and support for their obsessions of the show. I've collected a small list of artists I'm very inspired by and who have made a meaningful impact on the fandom. I have asked their permission to display their art here, and their links are in the description if you'd like to check out more of their work. These artists are incredibly creative, talented, and very kind. Feel free to pause the video to read my notes on each artist. WordGirl OCs are so fun and interesting because the show already allows for the introduction of villains at any time. And because most villains have something unusual or super about them, this gives fans the opportunity to be creative and silly when creating their own OCs, by giving them funny names, powers, and personalities similar to canonical villains. Because the WordGirl fandom is so closely knit, fan artists are in the unique position to draw their OCs with their friends' OCs, or others they see in the fandom that look fun to interact with. With the silly nature of all the villains on the show and the nature of villain OCs, A lot of amazing comics and headcanons can be made, which encourages and even inspires more OCs to be created by fans. Nearly all fandoms enjoy creating AUs that take the characters from a piece of media and place them into a fun or angsty alternative universe. So they usually keep their personalities and relationships, but now they're affected by the rules and situations of the new universe. Because WordGirl has been cancelled for several years now, the fandom has a plethora of AUs being created all the time. The most popular ones are Miss Power related, Tobeki related, and the usual theme related, like monsters, high school, anthro, angst timelines, etc. The sad reality of WordGirl ending so abruptly led to fans creating AUs to fulfill headcanons and ideal potential endings, relationships, both platonic and romantic. Writing AUs also gives fans to improve what's already been laid out, like rewriting inconsistencies in characters, exploring dream episodes, relationships, or team-ups. And I have an idea for a dream episode for a future video. In the last few months, something that's been proven to be very encouraging in a fandom cursed to never receive any new canon content is new fanon content from a canonical source. In the short, What's Up, Doc? Stephen Boxleitner is holding and reading from the book he wrote, Superheroes and You, A Practical Guide, which features what was likely drawn up to be a generic-looking hero on the cover, and the hero being named inside the book as Amazo Guy, on the page where this hero is sharing his barbecue ribs recipe. It's a silly bit that there's a recipe in such a serious book, and it's never really brought up again for the entirety of the show, except for references to the book itself in later episodes. In March of 2022, a user by the name of DJ Sadbean, me, began using this throwaway character in comics and concept art. This new canonical character being portrayed solely in a fanon way began to gain traction because of the fabrication of an old friendship between the hero and Professor Boxleitner before WordGirl was the city's main super. Their friendship was soon coined as Amazing Cheese by me. Soon their popularity grew to the point where many fans unfamiliar with my art wondered who in the world this Amazo guy was. I do feel a little bad for confusing people, but it's so funny to see people make the connection, and it's like, OMG, I never noticed that guy on the book, or I thought it was someone's OC, or just amused by how far this delusion of mine has gone. I try not to toot my own horn too often because I don't want to accidentally come off as rude or something, but I'm so genuinely happy to see all the art and writing and headcanons, discussions, etc. about Amazo Guy. It feels like we finally got some new WordGirl content after so long. Also, it's fun to see people who don't know who I am say nice things about him because that means he's such a fun and interesting character that he surpasses any one person. I wanted to end it on this personal note because I think if we keep creating new fanon things from canon, we'll keep this fandom going for a while, even if we take breaks in between. It's clear this show is well loved by new and older fans, and I hope you enjoyed this analysis on why I think the WordGirl fandom has outlived the show.